Good morning, and welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Rochester. It's good to be together this morning on this special Sunday service. Our coming of age class will be offering their statements of identity and belief, their credos, and we are grateful to them for their testimony, and we are grateful for all the mentors and facilitators and families that are here to celebrate and witness these beautiful pieces of wisdom and testimony. Ours is a congregation celebrating wisdom from many sources, practicing inclusion and love for all people and the earth. We've been nurturing spirituality and practicing justice since 1866. We extend a special welcome to newcomers and visitors. We're glad you're here. If you have any questions about our church, would like to get involved or consider becoming a member, you can speak with our coordinator of congregational life, Melissa Egler, or you can speak with me after the service. Most importantly, know that you are welcome here. Your faith, your doubts, your questions, your identity. Join us after service for coffee downstairs, and two brief announcements. Remember, next Sunday we switch to our summer schedule, so there's one service at 10 a.m. So if you come at 9, you'll be fine. You'll just have some extra meditative time beforehand. 11, you'll be late and catch the end. And that schedule will go throughout the summer till we return to 2 services in early September. And also, if you are interested in Chalice Camp, which is our summer camp for children and youth, as well as adults to volunteer, registration, to be sure you get a t-shirt, which is why everybody signs up for Chalice Camp, is June 1st. So that's coming up soon, so you can register online. You can see information about it in your e-news if you want to check there, or ask any of the staff. We'll be glad to point you in the right direction and get you registered. It's at the end of June this year, and we hope you can participate. In a moment, our opening hymn will call us back together. I invite you now to rise in body or spirit and greet those around you.
This year's Coming of Age, we have looked into rituals, theology, and beliefs from a wide variety of religions and sources. Undergirding all of our study has been a couple of questions. How do the beliefs we are learning about, translate into the lives of those that hold them? And what can these beliefs or ideas teach me? Our teachers this year have come from all walks of life and have prompted us to always be open to the ideas of others, since we never know when we will be taught or end up being the teacher to someone else. And so we have begun each class with the same chalice lighting. And now we invite all of you into our coming of age circle with the same words. In this space, who is teaches and who is taught. This light reminds me that I learn from the inner light of all. Sit, talk, and be with me as we teach and lift one another.
Welcome to the Coming of Age Service 2019. Each of the youth here has worked for hours thinking and talking with one another, and the facilitators, and the mentors, forming their beliefs that shape their lives. We thank the mentors, we thank the youth for their shared experience through this tremendous process. We also invite future mentors and future facilitators to sign a paper downstairs if you're interested in continuing this great thing we do with our youth every year. Most importantly, though, we look forward to the service in the Commons afterward. There's going to be a special little celebration. And as these youth worked with their mentors this year, their voices have grown, they've matured emotionally, and they've been able to develop a wonderful kind of a roadmap that each one is looking forward to traveling down. Both Morgan and Derek have helped to create a candle here at the front that each of the youth will light after they share their credos. And this candle was formed from previous candles that we light every Sunday. a way to recycle our love and recycle our chalice flame that we hold so sacred here in this church. We hope now that this light will continue to shine with all of us and enlighten our years together.
I invite you to take a deep breath. Breathe deep the breath of life. Sit deeply here in this house of love and of justice, of hope and of grace. Know that here you are named and you are known as beloved, as sacred, as welcome. I invite you into this time of meditation, this time of prayer, first by sharing silence together. Spirit of life and source of love, God and mystery of 1,000 names and beyond all naming, may we be held in love this day. May we know the wisdom that flows from generations past, the wisdom that comes to us in mystery from generations to come. And we find ourselves here this moment, this day, grateful for the invitation to explore the biggest, largest questions of life and death, of God and spirit, of good and evil, of hope and love, and to find our questions mingled with answers for now, just on the brink and always in humility and awe of finding some new wisdom. May we stay always and ever open. We're grateful this day for all those who give their time and energy to the flourishing of this church, caretaking for our building and our people. We're grateful this day for the flowers, 2 flowers from Janine Van Ree and Jan Van Drusen in celebration of their 25th wedding anniversary, as well as from Erica BEETCHER in recognition for, as she says, the whole fabulous COA class, facilitators Kelly Ray and Derek, mentors, and her daughter Ava, who has truly come of age during her credo journey. We hold in our hearts this day all those who suffer in mind, in body, or spirit. I invite you to bring the names that you're holding in your heart this day, in joy or in sorrow, in celebration or concern, and silently or aloud now in this space to speak their names. For all the names spoken and all that remain unspoken, may we be forever grateful for the fabric of love and life that weaves us together. May those threads hold us all in love and in strength. These words of meditation come from Oriah Mountain Dreamer. I dedicate these words to you, coming of age class. It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it or fade it or fix it. I want to know if you can see beauty even when it is not pretty every day. It doesn't interest me to know where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if you can get up after the night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done to greet the day, to feed the children. It doesn't interest me where or what or with whom you have studied. I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else falls away. May it be so. Amen. The hymn of meditation is meditation on breathing in your teal hymnal. I invite you to remain seated as we sing together.
Imagine yourself sitting on the ground of a forest and looking up at the trees. Sun shining through the branches, the sun gently kissing your head as you feel your skin tingling with warmth. Listening to the chirping of birds around you, complete relaxation, taking it all in. This is what I believe in, living in the moment and loving where you are now. My name is Ava Skye Beecher, and I believe in the beauty of life and finding peace within yourself. I see myself as a secular humanist, which means I believe that humanity is capable of morality and self-fulfillment without belief in God. I believe that to find peace, I first have to enjoy the life I live and to love who I am. I believe as a human being, I have the ability to make my life my own and live it to the fullest. As a kid, I was always adventurous and loved to explore the forest in our backyard. Thinking back, I remember a time in my childhood, I was around 8 or 9, and I had discovered a woolly caterpillar. I was walking barefoot in the grass, stopped, and came across the tiny creature. I was intrigued. I remember wondering how something so small could be so independent. I had picked up the caterpillar and held it in my hand. It had curled up into a ball and was resting in my palm. I studied the little guy and thought to myself how it has a life of its own, and I had felt extremely empathetic towards it. In that moment, I realized that every single life has meaning. No matter how big or how small, life is beautiful. I'd felt enlightened and thought to myself that there is a place for everything in this world and how the gift of life should be fulfilled by making it my own. When I think back on this experience, it reminds me to notice the small things and to love where I am in the moment. I feel that my life is defined by my actions and not a higher being or God. I believe the most important part about being alive is human connection and experience. My goal is to become the best person I can be and to always stay humble. I base most of my ideas off reason and science, but I also believe that everything happens for a reason. Confucius says, "Everything has beauty, but not everyone sees it." These words stand out to me and reflect back to my belief that life is beautiful. To me, beauty is tangible and intangible. Beauty can be a flower bud or a smile on someone's face, but it can also be the love in someone's heart. When finding beauty in nature, I find peace within myself. During stressful times or when I need to think, I find that when I am outside or around nature, I am calm and able to self-reflect. I wish to continue to seek out beauty in nature to help me stay grounded throughout my life. My family and friends have influenced my beliefs immensely, and I am so grateful for them, and they have helped shape me into who I am today. Growing up, I was taught to be grateful for what I have, to be considerate of others, that everyone makes mistakes, and to be there for others, even though sometimes I helped others before I helped myself. With their encouragement, I have been given the confidence to do the things I love, and they have helped transform me into the butterfly I am becoming. When I first started to think about writing this credo, I initially thought I was an atheist. However, throughout the COA class, I came to enjoy the ideas of humanism. I continued to learn more about myself and found that my core beliefs revolved around the goodness of human beings. I walked into this class thinking I knew everything about what I believed, but now I walk out with an open mind and found that I believe in more than just humanism. I believe in kindness, I believe in justice, I believe in peace, but most importantly, I believe in love.
And I believe in understanding others, because by learning about others, you learn about yourself. Once, in 6th grade, I helped someone sitting next to me understand the math problems we were doing in class, and I managed to explain the problems in a way that clicked with her. The ability to help others realize how to solve problems or think about something differently is a skill I'm very proud of. Therefore, I began thinking of teaching as a future occupation. I feel that life is like jazz. Everyone has a part to play. Some have a louder part than others, but everyone has an opportunity to play a solo. Sure, there are mistakes that people play, but no one can play perfectly all the time. When you make a mistake, you just gotta keep on playing. You can't just stop and go back, but sometimes that mistake makes music more beautiful than before. I love listening to the other musicians play, hearing how they intertwine with each other, and how the music sounds when they all play together. It's especially helpful to listen to how everyone else plays when you are playing together in a group. In band and in life, we all have to contribute to the music that is life. Everyone has something different, but every piece is important for the music to work. I learned from playing the bari sax that even though you don't have the melody, you're still essential for success. The melody shifts from one person to another, but sometimes it's more fun to play the supporting role, lifting the melody players to greater heights until it's your turn for the melody.
When people describe their faiths or beliefs, it's usually, or always a big detailed description. Or some people just believe in nothing. My beliefs are just as simple as bread. Growing up, my life wasn't out of the ordinary. I was born into a life like how bread comes from humble ingredients. As a child, I did simple things with my time. I played with toys and I watched movies. Simple as mixing the flour and sugar with water for bread. I was never in a hurry as a kid. Like rising bread, we took our time in life. In adolescence, I was growing and changing in body, mind, and spirit. Like bread dough rises in the covered bowl and in the oven. With all these simple ingredients of my life, it can make the recipe for a simple faith. And for me, that faith is Christianity. It wasn't just the simplicity of the faith and my life that draws me to it. It's also because of the influence of my grandparents, as they were the ones that were my introduction to the faith. They were the ones who took me to churches and taught me about Jesus. Like the bread, my faith in God and Jesus nourishes me. That nourishment doesn't control my choices. I am still responsible for my own actions. I believe my Christian faith nourishes my hope that there is a place I go to when I die. Like how bread will nourish my hunger. But I know I may not believe in this forever, because beliefs change, like that of the dough, changing with the mixture. But I could say the same, like the color of the dough and the finished bread. And my beliefs did change at one point. When I was 12, I became an atheist for about a year. I decided to change back because I began to realize I didn't have any real reason to be an atheist, other than having some pitiful feeling of superiority. Another reason I chose to be a Christian is because it feels like a part of me, like I have a place of belonging and community. As a Christian, I am to read the Bible and learn from it, to never kill another human, have faith in God, follow the 10 Commandments, and to accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. These are all simple requirements to being a Christian, like the simple techniques used to make a loaf of bread. And that's all I have to say about my faith. I've always been straightforward, but I guess that's the point. I have a relatively simple life, simple goals and needs, and that makes me happy. Simple life, simple faith, simple as bread.
Answering the question of what you believe isn't easy. It's not a pre-formulated list you can copy and paste. It's not something answered in one sentence, one paragraph, or one credo. It's an undefined journey of discovery that has no end. I don't know if what I claim to believe today will be true years from now, but I think it's been helpful to have spent dedicated time with my teachers and my mentor to explore all the possibilities and encourage me to challenge myself. When I first started thinking about writing my credo, I remembered an experience when I was younger. I was 8 when I started taking piano lessons. On the first day, I was nervous, but my teacher was nice and allowed me to focus on playing. I felt something shift in me when I began playing short, choppy notes that vaguely sounded like music. It didn't matter that it sounded awful. It mattered that this new thing made me feel happy. This new skill added a new layer to me, and I realized each time I learned something new, a new layer is added to who I am and what I can do. By learning new things, I can change or enhance something I already know, like a viewpoint, idea, or belief. And if I keep my mind open for new information, I can continue to grow in my thinking and evolving as a person. Throughout the COA class, we were challenged to have an open mind and consider new things. We were educated about many religions and their teachings. While they were all unique in their own way, they all shared a few basic ideas: a sense of community, living life as a good person, and helping others, particularly those less fortunate. All the religions were interesting and helped me better understand the beliefs of others while also teaching me something I can take away from each to incorporate into the UU principles, which still sum up what I believe almost perfectly. For me, the principles represent all the ideas I connected with from different religions and brought them to one place. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the 7 principles, but I want to share what they mean to me. I believe in accepting others for who they are and for what they believe. I believe there is worth and dignity in every person, and that I can become a better person if I dig deeper to understand their experiences. This is what makes it easier for us to love and be compassionate to all. I believe in the value of diversity. We may be different in looks, language, culture, and experiences, but our uniqueness is what can make the world stronger and capable of anything. I believe in equality. No matter who you love, where you're born, what you earn, or what struggles you face in life, it's my duty to take action to ensure everyone is treated fairly and given their basic civil rights, especially those groups that are marginalized. I believe who you are and what you believe shouldn't be chosen for you. Finding your own truth and who you are is up to you. Everyone is on their own path, but it is when our paths cross that we have to take advantage of what we can learn and enjoy about one another. I believe everyone should have a voice and a vote. I want to use mine to express what I believe, but not to silence others. I know not everyone's voice is heard equally, so I need to help others speak theirs and remove the barriers that prevent them from having an equal say in our democracy. I believe we are here to work for the common goal of peace and justice and making the world a better place. Big waves can start with a small ripple, or in my case, a small person. I believe in protecting and respecting our home, the earth, because our survival is directly connected to its. I will do my best to coexist with nature and appreciate its beauty, but I will also push others to acknowledge what we are doing to destroy it, so we can work together to preserve it. This year, I found there's a value in having an open mind and heart, the value in doing my part, however small, and the value in letting the UU principles guide me. I've explored the teachings of other religions to develop understanding and respect for what others believe and how that can impact how we all see the challenges in the world. These opportunities have made me appreciate all my years at this church that have allowed me to be myself and say what I believe. After all this, my biggest takeaway is that the journey isn't over. It's lifelong. I'm not done exploring what I believe. I know these beliefs may change as I get older, but that doesn't bother me, because it would mean I never stop searching for truth and meaning. I don't know where my journey will go and where it will end, but I'm glad I started here with all of you.
You want to know what I believe in? Well, here it is. I believe that everything in my perspective is nothing in someone else's perspective. Once a perspective dies, everything that was held within that perspective also dies with it and fades into nothing. Nothing can ever be viewed in the same way from that perspective, and we, in every way, will fade away into nothing as well. Everything will eventually fade into nothing. I came to this realization after a friend of mine died. I was curious as to what his experiences had been and what he had seen. I also wanted to know how he viewed me. After thinking of ways to discover his perspective of me, I found there was no way I could find out, because everything he viewed, even if he described it in as much detail as possible, could never be communicated or imprinted to the natural world. After this realization, I got curious and started to wonder what I viewed him. I knew I viewed him as something of a friendly being, but I had never thought of precise terms of how I viewed him. As I searched deep within myself, I found that I couldn't really put into words how I viewed him. The only things that came to mind were, nice guy. Today, as I write this, I notice that those feelings are drifting deeply and deeply away as his memories are kind of being pushed out by newer memories of newer friends. As I noticed that I couldn't describe him in physical words, I then started to wonder how I viewed other people, and I learned that I couldn't really describe my feelings on them either. Later on in life, after remembrance and hearing of a mention of my friend, I looked back on him. I realized how even if he still was alive, he couldn't put in precise description of what his feelings were towards me, just like I wouldn't be able to describe in words how I feel even to myself. I found that everyone would be at a loss of words if I asked them to describe in preciseness how they felt towards everyone else in the room. But for the sake of not making an awkward or weird silence happen, I decided to save that question for another time. I'm still waiting for that time. The only thing I can say is that I view every individual in a different light from every other individual. This belief has helped me to view people as not just carbon copies, but individuals with their own beliefs and outputs and reactions. Their perspectives can never be repeated in the same way and will one day fade. That is my belief.
The shared plate today is going to the Youth Leadership Fund. This fund was established to provide youth with a source of funds to help them attend schools and programs to grow them as leaders. In the past, this fund has been used to send youth to General Assembly, the Midwest Leadership School, and Thrive. Many of our youth couldn't afford these schools and experiences if they had to pay them completely out of pocket. So this fund was established. The fund is only replenished during the COA service, so without this shared plate, there would be no fund, and youth and their families would need to front much more of the costs. We thank you for your generosity in supporting the youth and their development as leaders.
Isaac Newton said, "Gravity explains the motion of the planets, but it cannot explain who set the planets in motion." My name is Anna Cahill Hoffman, and I believe in God. When I was 5 years old, I was curious what did God look like? And my dad, knowing my 5-year-old brain needed to be short and simple, he said that God looks like Santa Claus. He spends his day in the sky watching over us and guiding us to be the best version of ourselves. This may sound weird, believing that Santa sounds like God looks like Santa Claus, but that's what I picture when I picture Santa Claus. Picture God, sorry. The story has stayed with me for as long as I can remember. But before I went to Lourdes, where I currently attend high school, I never felt like I had a connection with my beliefs. They were just there. They didn't have any meaning. But then on the first day in the first class of high school, they started folding their hands and doing these hand signals, and I had no idea what was happening. But then they bowed their heads, and I realized that they were praying, and I instantly felt this warmth come over me. And I knew that this is where I belong. Now, just because I believe God looks like Santa doesn't mean that I believe he is Santa.
To me, you can't just ask God for something and expect Him to lay in front of you all wrapped up in a present. You have to work for it and prove not only to God, but to yourself that you deserve it. If you were to ask me what religion is, I would say it's a form of comfort. It reassures us about the afterlife, gives us someone to talk to, such as God, and gives us a purpose to do good. But I often find myself questioning God, asking, why would you let this happen? Then I usually end up answering myself, saying, now wait a second, Anna. This is the way of life. We are all going to get hurt in our life, emotionally and or physically. But think of all the good things you have that someone else would die for. A loving family and friends, 3 meals a day, a place to sleep, and a place I can call home. After a week at school of being a good Christian, I come to this beautiful church. While I'm here, I think to myself, well, if the Bible says that God blew the breath of life into Adam and Eve, then what about the Big Bang Theory? My dad was always taught me spiritually, but my mom always viewed the world scientifically. She told me about the Big Bang Theory and how our universe started with a massive explosion and turned into the wonderful world we know today. These are two things I strongly believe in, and my mind is constantly trying to figure out a balance between them. I used to feel like I didn't belong in this church because I felt different. You don't see too many Catholic Unitarian Universalists here, do you? But now I view things differently here. Instead, I embrace the questioning. This church has taught me to ask what's real and what isn't and why. And because of each and every one of you, I am who I am today.
My name is Maria Meyer, and I believe in the power of love to heal. I was adopted at the age of 2. Before I was adopted, I lived with my mom, sister, and brother. We didn't have the best living conditions since my mom was a young and unfit mother at the time. A lot of the time, she would leave us alone, and my older brother would have to take care of us at some points, and he was only 5 at the time. One day, the police took us away. They were taking me away from the only love and mother I knew. She did put us in danger, but I was only 1, and that was the only way of life that I knew. My brother and sister and I were put into foster care. We were put into a foster home, but we were only there for about 6 months. We were just so lucky that at the time, my moms, Erin and Pernell, who I now call my parents, were looking to adopt. I remember the first time they came to visit us at our foster home. There were 5 days where we progressively got more time alone with Erin and Pernell. The first few days, we went to restaurants and stayed at the foster home and hung out. But on the 5th day, they decided to take us to their house. And we stayed the night. We played games and played outside and had bundles of fun. And in that moment, I realized how fun and silly they were. And if you know me, I love to be silly and have fun. The next day, they took us back to the foster home. When it was time for them to leave, I cried as I watched them leave. I had fallen in love with them, and they had fallen in love with us. It took time for the adoption to be finalized, but when it was, there was joy all around. I remember the first time Pernell and I shared our first laugh. It was when my sister and brother were at school. It would be just me and her at home. We would play tag around the whole house and yard. I would hide behind the same tree every time, sticking my head out every few seconds to see if she knew where I was. As soon as we caught each other's eyes, a huge grin would spread across my face. Since my older siblings and I endured so much stuff when being with our birth mom, we had trauma. But our parents stood by our side the whole way through. This helped us see the light at the end of it all. We have all had those times where we feel things aren't going to get better. But with love, it can make it all better. I put up a wall whenever emotions come up because I'm scared of feeling the pain I felt when getting taken away from my mother. I feel vulnerable when showing my emotions, but Pernell and Erin have really made an impact on me, showing me that I don't have anything to be afraid of when showing my emotions. Even though the life I'm living is way better than before, and I love this life now, I still deal with the grief of losing my mother. But Aaron and Purnell helped me through it all, always being there for me to talk to. They will never leave me no matter what, and I love them with all my heart. Since my older brother and sister were adopted at ages 4 and 6, they had to deal with a lot more trauma than me, seeing as they had to live with my mother longer than I had to. This has caused them to have more difficulties in their life. Even though they've had some difficulties, our parents didn't give up on them. My parents have never stopped loving them. My parents give them numerous of chances to make things right. And even when they don't make the right choices, my parents forgive them and keep loving them every day as if their love is endless. This ability to love in the face of pain has been a great inspiration for me. By not giving up on us and always being there, they show me the characteristic of strength that I now today possess, which has helped me through the pain of the actions of my brothers and sisters that have been brought into our lives. But I don't dwell on that hurt because that doesn't do much good. Throughout it all, it doesn't stop me from treating them just like anyone would treat their normal siblings. We share many happy memories, ones that I'll cherish forever. Love has brought me a long way. At first, I started as a young, scared kid, not knowing who was there for me, thinking I wasn't capable of love or being loved. But in the end, I just owe my parents the biggest thanks for helping me become a strong, independent, loving girl. Now I think anything is possible, and I don't want anyone to feel incapable of love, because love is the greatest gift you can give. Those people that haven't felt the happiness and warmth of love, I want to make a change and bring the light of love into their lives. Through all of this, I still have stuff to work on within myself, but love has brought me a long way, and I am so thankful for that. I've had a lot of wounds to heal, and love has really helped them. I'm now here before you today as proof that love can really heal. No matter what comes your way, there's nothing a little love can't heal.
You've witnessed a miracle. You've witnessed something sacred. Their lives are a living sacrament, testifying that this whole world is holy. All of theirs and all of your lives are holy. They make this world better. What a gift it is to gather and to bear witness to their wisdom and their love. So invite these youth with litanies in hand. Come gather around your flame. You are here in the center of this church, your church, our church, around your candles, facing the center and facing each other.
You have been asked hard, important questions of life, of ethics, of spirituality, reminding us that the work of the soul is for everyone. You have reminded us that our own responsible, reverent search for truth and meaning is lifelong, and we should attend to it with humor and with humility, knowing that wisdom comes from questions and answers and from a sense of wonder and awe at the world's brokenness mingled with its beauty.
I want to invite family and friends of these youth to take your litany or order of service with too, and come forward and lay a hand of blessing on the shoulder or back of your youth or someone in front of you so that they feel that connection. You, families, have been these youth's close support and guides, offering them love and encouragement, giving them life, kindling in them wonder and hope, and in turn learning from their own life and from their own wisdom as they have grown.
I invite the coming-of-age mentors, coming-of-age facilitators, youth advisors, and past religious education teachers to come forward and place a hand on your mentee's shoulder or those near them. You, mentors and teachers, have encouraged wonder, curiosity, hard questions, and community, teaching the stories and practices of who we are and are yet to be, and learning from these youth as they have grown.
Now invite the entire congregation to rise in body or spirit and move forward in the aisles to lay a hand of blessing on this sacred circle and lay a hand of blessing on the shoulder of those in front of you, making sure that the connection extends throughout this room to this central place of blessing. You, congregation, and many others beyond this room just today, have held strong the flame of our people through story, through song, through compassion and service. You have kept the breath of life and the fire of hope alive, our doors and our hearts and our minds open to these young people, paying attention to the vibrancy and the hope and the prophetic voice that these youth have brought to us, our own lives, to our church, to this world. Keeping a hand of blessing reaching toward these youth, I invite you now to the litany that's in your order of service. First, with families. Families say together, "Be kindled your flame."
And honor and celebrate what you have taught us, who you have become, and have been to become.
And mentors, advisors, and RE teachers say together, "We tended your flame."
Offering stories of wisdom, practices to nourish your soul, and questions to spark wonder, and we learn from you as your own soul grew.
And the congregation and all gathered, we kept the flame alive, singing the songs and telling the stories of our people, serving the world in compassion and love, knowing that your presence has shaped our souls. And the coming of age youth say together, we have been
nurtured by good teachers and loved ones. We have engaged deep questions of wonder and love and hope. We have, in honesty and humility, spoken our truth, knowing that wonder and wisdom is our whole life's work.
And all together, as you are coming of age, may we all continue becoming our best selves, nurturing spirituality, compassion, and justice, and hear these final words of blessing. May we all know, may you know, that you are beloved, you are sacred, you are whole. In a moment, the youth will blow out their candles, but know that this flame in the chalice from whence it came remains. Every time we light it for our ancestors, for our descendants, and the wisdom and testimony of these youth are in this flame. Each light that you bring shines in this place. Receive this blessing. As you go on your way, may love go with you. May love go before you to show you the way. May love go behind you to encourage you, beside you to befriend you, above you to watch over, within you to give you peace. May it be so. Amen.
Invite you to grab a hand or connect with those around you. Place a hand over your heart or just hold a hand outstretched. Know this: truth and light are dynamic. They live. Truth seeks for more truth. Light cleaves to more light. As we share our truths, as we share our light, we grow. Our chalice flame grows. Let's continue sharing truth, continue sharing light, so our chalice light can be that little beacon on Walden Hill to the rest of the world, welcoming them in. Amen.